We've all heard the jokes. Only children are spoiled, or they're selfish and can't share. But are these stereotypes really true? Or is there more to the psychology of an only child than meets the eye? If you've ever wondered how growing up without siblings affects someone, you're in the right place. Let's see how growing up solo shapes their emotions, relationships, and even their future behavior. You probably expect me to say that only children are lonely or antisocial. But guess what? That's not the full story. The truth is way more fascinating and way less stereotypical. So buckle up, because you might be surprised by what we discover about how growing up solo shapes everything from self-esteem to social skills, and even how they handle relationships as adults. Imagine this. You're the only kid in the house. No sibling to fight with for attention. No rivalry for the TV remote. In fact, you're the main event in your parents' world. This is a golden opportunity, right? Parents of only children can sometimes invest all their energy into their kids' emotional, developmental, and educational growth. The upside: you might have a rock-solid bond with your parents and boosted self-esteem. But here's the twist. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. Having all that focus can sometimes lead to feeling a little overwhelmed. You could end up carrying the weight of family expectations all on your shoulders, with no siblings to share the load. Now let's tackle the classic stereotype. Are only children really lonely? Sure, there's no sibling to hang out with, but being an only child doesn't mean sitting in a corner with nothing but your thoughts, unless you want to, of course. Instead, many only children develop awesome coping skills. Research shows that they become masters of entertaining themselves, whether that means creating an imaginary world, reading, drawing, or playing video games. The truth: many only children develop deep, rich inner worlds and often prefer solo hobbies. Are they lonely? Not really. They're just a little more independent than most. But yeah, there are times when they might feel isolated, especially if they don't get enough social interaction with other kids. This can sometimes make them seem more introverted or self-reliant than others. So, when an only child finally hits school, guess what happens? They might have to learn some social skills, like how to share a toy or handle group dynamics. Without siblings to practice these things at home, they might take a little longer to warm up to new social situations. But here's the interesting part. Because they've spent so much time around adults, only children tend to mature early and become excellent conversationalists. They're more comfortable talking to teachers or other adults, which can be a huge asset in school. That said, they might struggle a bit with group play or resolving conflicts with other kids. But don't worry. By the time they're teenagers, only children usually develop their own unique social circles and thrive in them, and friends become their chosen family. Here's where it gets real: the perfect child stereotype. Only children often feel the weight of their parents' high expectations all on their own. There's no sibling to help with the spotlight, and if something goes wrong, it can feel like the whole family is watching. This often leads to perfectionism. The drive to excel, whether it's grades, sports, or anything else, can be intense. It's like they're constantly pushing themselves because they feel their success is a reflection of their parents' efforts. On the upside, this means they're often super ambitious, goal-oriented, and driven. On the downside, failure can hit them hard because they feel like they've let everyone down. The struggle is real. Let's talk relationships. Whether it's friendships or romantic partners, being an only child has some surprising effects. Only children tend to be fiercely loyal friends. They value deep, meaningful connections, and because they've spent so much time interacting with adults, they know how to communicate and show affection. But there's a catch. They may expect a lot of attention from their friends. In romantic relationships, they might be the type to give their partner undivided attention. This can be awesome, but it can also lead to issues like codependency or problems with boundaries if they're not careful. It's all about finding that balance. Alright, here's a juicy paradox. Are only children more introverted or extroverted? The answer? Both. An only child grows up learning to enjoy their own company, solo hobbies, but can also be incredibly outgoing, especially if they've had to interact with adults from an early age. In fact, many only children can be social butterflies because they've had to learn how to engage with others early on. It all depends on their personality and their environment. Some only children thrive in social settings, while others lean into the quiet, introspective side. It's a bit of both worlds. Fast forward to adulthood. how does being an only child impact them now? As adults, only children often carry traits like independence, self-reliance, and those high expectations right into their daily lives. They tend to have a strong sense of self-worth because, well, they've been standing on their own 2 feet for a while now. But here's the kicker. They may struggle with sharing their time or attention, especially in relationships or at work. And let's face it, large family gatherings might feel a bit off when you're the only one without siblings to bond with. But here's the silver lining. Only children tend to be super adaptable. They know how to build relationships from scratch and rely on emotional intelligence rather than just fitting into social norms. It's a skill they've honed over the years. So, here's the deal. The psychology of an only child isn't what the stereotypes say. Sure, they get all the attention, but they also get all the pressure. That's a lot of weight for one person to carry. But despite all the ups and downs, growing up without siblings can develop traits like independence, emotional intelligence, and adaptability that make them incredibly resilient adults. So, the next time you meet an only child, give them some credit for their journey. And hey, I want to hear your thoughts. Whether you're an only child or know someone who is, how do you think it's shaped their life? Drop a comment below. See you in the next video.